The rise and fall of Ming China, a civilization ahead of its time. Intro. Imagine a post-Renaissance world where one civilization stood tall, its grandeur unmatched, its people brimming with confidence. Welcome to Ming China, the 1500s powerhouse that left foreign visitors in awe. With a staggering 100 to 130 million people, Ming China dwarfed Europe's 50 to 55 million. Its cities were behemoths, boasting impressive libraries, extensive trade routes, and a sophisticated canal system. The administration was a well-oiled machine, run by a hierarchical government. The dawn of a new era, the entrance of the Ming Dynasty. In the 1300s, China's ancient landscape was ravaged by the Mongol hordes and the invasion of Kublai Khan, leaving behind a trail of destruction and chaos. Kublai Khan, also known as Emperor Shizu of Yuan, and Setsun Khan, founded the Yuan dynasty of China, becoming its first emperor. This Mongol empire's reign began in 1206. However, its later ineptitude, coupled with bureaucratic factionalism and rivalries among generals, weakened the Yuan government, paving the way for a new power to rise. In the shadows of the Mongol dynasty appeared a brave and cunning leader, Zhu Yuanzhang, a humble peasant turned rebel commander, who founded the Ming Dynasty in 1368. The Ming Dynasty emerged, defeating the Mongols and reuniting the empire. With a fierce determination, he took the reins as the Hongwu Emperor, marking the beginning of a golden era in Chinese history. The floodgates of innovation and learning swung open, ushering in a new era of prosperity and cultural renewal. The Ming Dynasty would go on to become a beacon of stability, but also a hotbed of autocratic rule, where power and intrigue danced hand in hand. Technological trailblazer. Ming China was a hotbed of innovation. Printing presses hummed with movable type, a century-old innovation. An iron industry thrived, churning out 125,000 tons annually, supplying the massive army of over 1 million men. This output eclipsed Britain's iron production 7 centuries later. The empire's fertile plains, paper money, and bustling markets cemented its status as a cultural and economic titan. The Chinese were said to be the first to invent true gunpowder, and cannon were used by the Ming to overthrow their Mongol rulers in the late 14th century. Economy, sea and trade, prowess unleashed. In a bold bid to dominate global trade and conquer territories, the Chinese embarked on an era of maritime exploration and commerce. With the innovative magnetic compass guiding their way, they constructed majestic junks rivaling Spanish galleons in size and grandeur. The lucrative sea routes connecting the Indies, Pacific Islands, and East Africa beckoned, promising a windfall to surpass the famous caravan trails. By 1420, the Ming Navy boasted an intimidating fleet of 1,350 combat vessels, including 400 colossal floating fortresses and 250 long-range cruisers. Meanwhile, private traders plied the waters, establishing profitable links with Korea, Japan, Southeast Asia, and East Africa, yielding a rich harvest of revenue for the Chinese state. The crowning glory of these expeditions was Admiral Chung Ho's epic 7-voyage odyssey between 1405 and 1433, mobilizing hundreds of ships and tens of thousands of men to explore ports from Malacca to Zanzibar. Legend has it that he even brought back exotic giraffes from East Africa to delight the Chinese emperor. Another majestic ship set sail, carrying a defiant Ceylonese chief who dares to challenge the mighty Son of Heaven, the Chinese emperor. The winds whisper tales of past encounters, where European invaders like the Portuguese and Dutch plundered and murdered captives, leaving destruction in their wake. But the Chinese, rather known for their mercy, spared lives and only sought to assert their dominance. The fall of Ming China, a tale of isolationism and decline. In 1433, China's majestic seafaring expeditions came to a sudden halt. Just 3 years later, the imperial edict sounded the death knell for ocean-going ships, and soon, vessels with more than 2 masts were outlawed. The legendary warships of Chung Ho, once the pride of the Chinese Navy, were left to rot as the country turned its back on the world. But what drove this drastic shift? The Mongol threat loomed large on the northern borders, while expansion into Annam, modern-day Vietnam, proved costly and fruitless. More so, the Confucian bureaucracy, rooted in tradition and conservatism, further stifled innovation and progress. In the majestic courts of Ming China, a palpable sense of nostalgia filled the air. The ruling elite, still simmering with resentment towards the Mongol conquest, sought to revive the glory of their ancestors. Amidst this restoration fervor, officials were consumed by a desire to preserve the past, rather than chart a bold new course of discovery and commerce. Confucian wisdom dictated that warfare was a necessary evil, a reluctant response to the threat of barbarian hordes or internal uprisings. Yet, in this era of rebirth, would the ancient traditions of the Middle Kingdom be enough to safeguard its future? As Portuguese vessels began to appear on the coasts and Japanese pirates threatened the Yangtze cities, China's naval decline became a harsh reality. Furthermore, in the shadow of the majestic Great Wall, Ming China's prosperity began to crumble. The empire's obsessive focus on state capital over private enterprise suffocated innovation, as grand projects like the Imperial Navy and ironworks were built solely to serve the state's interests. The ancient wisdom of astronomical clocks, built since 1090, collected dust, while printing presses lay idle, limited to scholarly texts rather than disseminating practical knowledge or sparking social change. Abolishing of the paper currency economy stifled growth, and cities were held on a tight leash, devoid of autonomy. The wealthy elite squandered their riches on education and land, neglecting the proto-industrial revolution that could have propelled China forward. The final nail in the coffin was the ban on overseas trade and fishing, strangling the economy of a much-needed stimulus. Summary: in the shadow of the Sung Dynasty's grandeur, Ming China, despite improved agriculture techniques, struggled to maintain its vigor, epitomized by the abandonment of the ancient, once thriving, blast furnaces and coke ovens of Honan and Hopei. However, the population surge soon outpaced production, leading to a downward spiral. Plague, flood, and war became the grim reapers of the population growth, and even the Manchu takeover couldn't halt the decline until China's resurgence in the 20th century. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more captivating videos and to support our research. Lessons Untold. Relax, review, reflect.